So anyway, here we all sit. Today is December, I don't know, something like 4th or 5th, I don't fucking know. The UW is manic right now. They're just trying to just fuck us in the ass with every way, shape, or form they can in media and fucking audio class. This whole semester's just been royally botched the fuck up. COVID-19 is really bringing out the worst in everybody. It's getting to the point now where it's me first, get the fuck out of my way. That's how America is right now. You know, we're in between a president, and here we're sitting 9 months after the announcement that we're all going to try to flatten the curve, and we're still stuck 9 months later dealing with this fucking COVID-19 bullshit. You know, when I left Las Vegas, I really believed like it was tailing off, businesses were going to start opening again, school was going to start up, and I had my druthers at first, like, all right, you know, first couple 3 weeks we'll probably not be in school, but after that everything will be hunky-dory. But no, these fuckheads in the state of Wisconsin keep filing these injunctions saying, oh no, we don't have to wear a mask, Yet our ancestors back in the 1900s, when this shit fucking rolled through one time before, they all masked up and the quarantine went away and they all went back to life ever again. So now we're 9 months further down the road in this COVID-19 bullshit, and the annual fire truck parade that we normally have in Sun Prairie, we're all gonna have to get in our cars and drive through this parade. So I'm gonna take some photos, maybe a little bit of video, I don't know yet, but you know, this is an epic time in American history, and the profanity illustration really is just the gonzo journey. And what Hunter S. Thompson wanted us all to think about with gonzo was like, you know, don't ever forget those times in your life when you went through trauma. Try to recall those events and narrate them from the way you see it, not the way 3 other people see it, but the way that you see it. And the way that you see it is your unique perspective, which is what people in the trauma scene talk about. In scientific research, journalism science, a person at the scene of the crime or scene of the incident is most credible. They're called key witnesses. Well, when you're a journalist and you're a key witness to an event, why can't you write about it? So instead of telling the story like Hunter did with written word, I'm telling my version with video. That way the ordeal backs it all up. And this 11 Pro Max phone is so great because you can just airdrop these videos right onto your MacBook and create videos. It's actually quite astonishing, quite frankly. But today I'm trying out my Nikon D3300. I found out it was manufactured in 2014, so it's about 6 years old. But man, the pictures are incredible. I'm starting up a multimedia journalism business. I don't know where it's going to head. I don't know where it's going to lead. I mean, seriously. Right now in the field, there's a flood of writers. There's a flood of professors about to be furloughed, so they're all going to go back out in the field. So America in the academic world is just upside down right now. And as you can see, all of us waiting to go to a fucking virtual parade. Seriously, like, what would you rather be doing on a Saturday night? Oh, I'd rather be sitting in my fucking car to go see a bunch of fire trucks that normally go down Main Street because, well, you know, we're fucking dealing with a quarantine right now. And these dipshit Democrats in our state can't fucking muster a goddamn thought between each other. They're all more worried about rioting and looting and talking shit than they are staying home and masking up. I mean, you know, the way I see it, all these presidential rallies and all these riots and all the bullshit that we had to undergo downtown at the Capitol with all these riots happening here in Madison, it's just a shame. It's a shame that none of us respect this country anymore. That patriotism is in the garbage can right now. And so all of us have to go to a virtual parade, an event, and try to fight for traffic to see a bunch of fucking fire trucks. Yay. So anyway, this was announced on Facebook. I've been waiting in line now for 25 minutes, and quite frankly, I really don't give a fuck if I see the parade or not. It's just historical. It's a historical event, and being a vet with a static mental health condition, you know, this COVID-19 has actually gotten better for me instead of worse. You know, I'm minimizing the amount of contact with people, and I see positivity coming out of this. I've met a wonderful woman. I've seen a lot of great things, but now here I sit waiting for this fucking parade, and it's like I'm burnt the fuck out from the university. It's 5:41 p.m. and I really want to shoot this documentary from beginning to end, just to take little segments of events that happened during COVID-19 and put together, you know, a 30 to 45 minute video of just the real world, what we experienced, and how this tragedy unfolded. You know, it's so ironic that we sit here going through this parade after we experienced the Sun Prairie explosion. You know, this society here in Sun Prairie has just experienced cataclysmic shift after cataclysmic shift. And hopefully this virtual fire truck parade and tree lighting will bring some camaraderie back to this community, because this community has been shattered in many facets. And what I've seen from these natural disasters and cataclysmic events is that people just turn really ugly. So I hope at some point that the ugliness starts to fade away and the beauty of humanity starts to shine through, like it did with the Sun Prairie explosion. You know, as we started to clear the wreckage of the exploded buildings, and we mourn the loss of Captain Bark, we were able to be recognized nationally on the media. And even back then, fuck journalism. I don't anybody want to be fucking journalism. Well, you know, it's each person's own individualistic view. I promise you I'll never conform to that bullshit liberal media that they're fucking producing right now. My goal is just to find natural raw footage, give it to you raw, so that you can be the one to decide what it is you believe, what it is that's your ideology, because that's the American way. The Constitution never wanted you to be force-fed any kind of freedom or any kind of liberty. It's strictly for you to decide. So here we are today, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, 5:43 at night. We're all waiting in line to go to a virtual parade. COVID-19 is spiking in Wisconsin. I have several friends who are working through each phase of this contamination. You know, some have limited breathing capacity now. It's been ongoing. Some of them have contracted COVID-19 several times. And one thing I've learned with my travel going overseas or going across the country to the West Coast and back is that you limit your exposure. I wasn't out on Fremont Street for 9 hours like everybody else was, packing up at night. No, I went out during the day and hung out and checked out the stores and did the least amount that I possibly could. And so that's what I've learned from all this, is that we minimize the damage by staying centered on, you know, making this event positive. So what's going on? So today I want to invite people to go to the Wisconsin State Capitol and remember the POW MIA, third Friday of September. Friday, we are recognizing Prisoner of War Missing in Action Recognition Day. The holiday was brought into law through President Jimmy Carter in 1980. Right after the Iran hostages were released, President Reagan was elected. And now we're in 2025, 45 years later. And where are we?
Where's the unity in our community? I don't see it. So, here at Madison College, in the Intro to Entrepreneurship class, well, I'm Bradley J. Burt, giving self-reporting as a VA patient through several pseudonyms here in Florida, in Tampa. And we're about to tackle Hackathon 2025. "921 people applied, only 300 people were accepted. And I can say this much. Microsoft has us on a very strict diet. No soda, no energy drinks, one meal. Confidentiality agreement. And when I've asked several people in the VA about the program for more information, nobody knows about it. But yet the VA has its name all over it. So I'm wondering if this is something to do with privatization. I'm going to investigate and find out.
That's it. Out of alignment with your spirit. You came here with that, it's all just not.
Wow, was that interesting. So tonight, for our guest speaker, we had the mayor of Tampa, who is also a former police chief. She claims that Tampa is the most veteran-friendly city in the United States. That's interesting. She comes from a very military service family. And this mayor sees the value, not like Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway. Satya doesn't even see military service as a protected class. Her civil rights division only protects those with less than honorable discharges. Look up Ordinance 39.09.03. Look it up. It's Madison's Civil Rights Ordinance. In that ordinance, no military is mentioned other than honorable. And I've interviewed so far tonight at least 50 veterans at this National American Legion convention. They're like, Jesus Christ, seriously? Satya Rhodes Conway does that? And I'm like, yeah. I said, guys, if we're going to talk about community care, let's look at the community. I'm calling for the VA to study the city of Madison and its queer-mongering of veterans. I just did it tonight. I pitched it. And with Microsoft as the host, then I will turn over Bob Cobb to Microsoft to audit how the community speaks to its military service members. The Shanghai that went down here in the city of Madison with my employment has actually liberated me more than anything. I know what I'm doing now as a journalist. I'm not being confused by being in security. And I'm realizing that if you're self-reporting as a veteran on social media, science can study us. But if we use a pseudonym, we can drive data into the pseudonym and not give away our identity. And then we can start creating stories about John Q. Battlefield. Time down range in the combat zone. So tonight I met a little audiologist, and she told me this story about her doctorate degree, and it was pretty cool. But she even agrees, and if somebody with a doctorate degree who's medically certified agrees, that hearing is the first part of PTSD, that the audiologists see the most at the VA. It's pretty interesting. So tonight I get
at the next light, take a right.
A version of a town hall speech I wrote pitching to give reparations to the Vietnam veterans with the bullshit with Agent Orange. Agent Orange should be grouped under burn pits. No veteran should have to deviate and fluctuate between their percentage rate like the Vietnam veterans did. Every Vietnam veteran afflicted by napalm I've seen in the American Legion as a service officer, 1 month he'll get 10%. The next month cancer will spike. Then the VA will put him on 90%. Then the cancer will go into remission. And meanwhile, this guy can't even fucking work because he's so riddled by cancer. We were talking about that tonight too. Like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff that veterans go through. People don't know about. It's good to know now that the doctor who's the host of this experiment has an interest in trying to figure out how to resolve the community care problems. So tonight here in Tampa, Florida, many of us in the VA, whether we're patients, whether we're social workers, whether we're audiologists, we're all coming together tomorrow morning to pitch a 3-minute pitch how to fix problems in the VA. The best pitch wins and goes on to the next round. This is called a hackathon, and it's happening here in Tampa, Florida. Peace. Well, I'm Bradley J. Burt, self-reporting as a VA patient through the pseudonym Bob Cobb in Tampa, Florida. So anyway, we just had Hackathon, and I learned a lot today. I learned about this term called community care. I also learned that there are 4.4 million rural veterans who need community care access. And so I learned today that community care, that comprises going to an outside vendor outside the VA and exercising their services. So if you don't like the VA that you're at, you can use community care to receive your services. I thought that was pretty alarming, but get this. So I was going to get up and give a presentation, right? I'm going to give her a pitch. And I was going to talk about the viability of getting gun shy 3 times for my proctology exam. I didn't want to get a colonoscopy. I'm sorry, I don't do that. I mean, like, it's not like homophobia or anything. It's just like, I just can't get past the concept of being incapacitated while someone shoves a hose up my ass. It just doesn't register. Well, now the VA lets you take a shit and scrape it with a stick and you can send it in to test your culture. And you don't have to go through the colonoscopy anymore. Like, darn it. I said, for community care, when I go see a proctologist, I should get a balloon for every finger. And if I get 2 fingers, I get 2 balloons, right? They're like, no, you can't pitch that. You can't pitch that. I'm like, well, okay. So I did a little research. I'm guessing a colonoscopy costs about $7,000. I don't know. I have no clue. But here's what I learned today. 18.1 million appointments were either canceled or reverted to community care and dropped. At a price tag of $182 per appointment, each year the VA loses $330 million on missed appointments. $330 fucking million. And that community care is an $18 billion a year industry. It's like, wow, that's a lot of money. So I said, and here's what I'm going to do without post 422, is this is what I want to do. here's my pitch, since I didn't get to give it tonight. Weekly, we have a town hall. At that town hall, if you're a veteran who is struggling with making VA appointments, or let's just say that, you know, you have mobility issues and you can't get anywhere, I'm going to put that resource in your hands. I'm going to provide you with the link to line up an Uber on behalf of the VA to come pick you up. I'm going to help you create a strategy. So next time you don't miss your VA appointment. Because now I feel guilty because I missed 3 VA appointments because I didn't want a hose shoved up my ass. I did not pay forward by attending those proctology appointments, which then could have been used for someone who really needed it, right? I mean, that's survivor's guilt and that's all the shit with veterans, but no, you know, it's those things that you do, those choices you make, those frivolous choices you make that cost time and money for other people. And that I am one of the ones who contributed 3 times to that $330 million price tag. So my solution very much is this, that you create a landing page that not only connects you with VA connected care with the community care option, but also to get you to become self-sufficient. So there's going to be an overhaul at Outpost 422. I'm seeking $500,000 from the VA to hire 13 people to run my page. Each of you will make right around $38,000 to $40,000 a year. I want 2 interns to run my chat assistant. And rather than go to the VA and waste your fucking time, I'm going to give you a directory of all the community care people out there that are in the Dane County area. Because I found out 38% of VA appointments go to community care. So privatization is in full effect right now. And that number keeps growing and growing and growing. And with a $330 million shortfall, an individual pisses your money away as a taxpayer. I don't get charged. I got total and permanently disabled individual unemployability. Thanks to your taxpayer money, I've had $127,000 worth of college education forgiven. I think that's pretty successful. But now, through these pseudonyms, I'm going to start up a WikiHow manual to share with you how to fix your own problems with managing 3 things: My Healthy Vet, setting up an appointment with a community care provider, and a list of resources available to you outside of the VA. That's the best I can do. God bless. So what's going on? So today I want to invite people to go to the Wisconsin State Capitol.
What is a woman?
I did not ask about that. I'm not a woman. I don't care. I wouldn't know.
The Wisconsin. Well, right now I'm standing before you at the Wisconsin Supreme Court Clerk's office, and I want to share with you, as an upstander in this community, what I'm seeing happening right now in my own personal cases. We have Boardman and Clark trying to bring 2 complaints together to collaborate as one team. I've passed this on now to the Wisconsin Supreme Court justices to analyze, first off, is this viable as a law practice under Wisconsin Supreme Court Rules Chapter 20, but also from the media vantage point. This is what we're creating this semester at Madison College. So Bob Cobb is becoming the convergence between law and journalism. This started in 2018 as a congressional candidate against Mark Pocan, is running as an independent pseudonym. What I created was the corporate citizenship delegate position by using a fictitious name filing as a business. This is how corporate citizenship works. It's a limited liability partnership, but it can also be a limited liability corporation. And as an LLC, a group of investors can move forward as general partners and limited partners to make decisions on behalf of the American people. This is what corporate citizenship is. So in this, what I'm calling journalism e-discovery, through a pseudonymal approach, you as a business can start speaking up, and you as a business owner can be the representative in an elected position. However, what has to happen first, Wisconsin Supreme Court must determine whether or not these practices by Boardman and Clark LLP are even legitimate. So basically, let me share with you what's happening. In my case, I was stalked by two employers. Both have a woke ideology, a woke agenda here in the city of Madison. And so I brought these complaints before the state, and I brought them before the city of Madison. Now through examination with Bob Cobb, I'm going to converge media with law, come out the other end with a variable, take science communication, share with you what experimental law looks like by using a fictitious name approach. Through this business filing now, you as a law firm can create a pseudonym and self-represent. This is media representation of law, and that journalism and law converge through science communication. So up next, the Bob Cobb analysis of corporate citizenship through Citizens United versus will be my final project for the legal aspects of business organizations at Madison College. I don't mind going to court. I don't mind the ruling of no probable cause. What I do mind is when a long-standing lawyer and his firm represent law and then try to use Wisconsin Supreme Court Rules Chapter 24(3), which talks about the unrepresented litigant and what these lawyers have to abide by. Lawyers have to abide by Wisconsin Supreme Court chapter rules, and there is no deviation from that norm. That's all I got.
What are your pronouns?
I don't believe in that pronoun stuff. Anybody that believes in that pronoun stuff, I think their pronouns should be dumb and dumber.
Well, I'm Bradley J. Burt self-reporting as a VA patient under the pseudonym Bob Cobb. So now, Hackathon is done. Congratulations to all the winners who are moving on to what's called Makeathon. Our team did not get picked. No skin off my ass. But I want to share with you what I'm going to do now. After listening to everybody this weekend discuss their concerns for integration with Microsoft, let me explain this to you, how this is working now. Microsoft is going to use community care to data scrape your VA records. And what is data scraping? Everybody asks, what's this data scraping? Well, dumb shits, go on Google. That's data scraping. The AI analyzes text and audio and gives what is called a keyword or a metadata report. This is what I specialize in school. So through a pseudonym, I can take text, turn it into audio, and audio into text, regenerate a whole new AI, and confuse the fucking AI, because the AI that it reads is the AI from another platform like Facebook. As you know, I put Facebook on YouTube. I put YouTube on Vimeo. I put Vimeo on WordPress. And through all this, every time you publish, AI scans it and registers it. And what this has done is turn the AI into human controlled, right? The individual who uses their own social media live stream has full control over that as their intellectual property. And by law, Facebook, YouTube, and all these brands can't do shit. You know why? Because the FCC. So I realized today that at Hackathon, Microsoft's trying to get into the VA, and it's doing it through the back door of community care. Now everybody's all happy-go-lucky about Microsoft and its access to VA records, but the veterans shouldn't be. And so I'm taking up this issue in Congress to get going on writing a resolution in a bill to present to my delegate, not Mark Pocan. I got to figure this out. I'm trying to create a second residence so I can bypass Mark Pocan because he won't talk to me. Get this before Congress to stop Microsoft and all these platforms from running our VAs. This is privatization in its purest form. And they found their back door because now they're 38% strong with community care. And that's exactly what we talked about this weekend. So if you as a veteran use community care, be wise, be careful. Because I'm creating light fighter syndrome, and what that's going to do is it's going to block AI from seeing your mental health records and putting it out there for research. I'm passionate about this because society has stigmatized PTSD with veterans. And if you're a straight white Christian male, woke is going to fucking eat you up. I'm living proof. My employer gave me a threatening violence letter. And what they're not going to tell you is the incident that led up to that letter was a demand that they be allowed to have the VA fill out an interactive dialogue process questionnaire regarding conditions I didn't have. I wasn't requesting accommodations, yet they wanted me to certify my disability. They have no grounds to do so. And all I did was make an assertive boundary and say, you can't touch it. I don't have to fill that out. And so they wanted a digital copy? No fucking way. Live Nation does not get digital copies of veteran records. Nor do we have to fill out an interactive dialogue process questionnaire. And by doing this now, I filed a complaint with the Inspector General and said, I have light fighter syndrome. I registered it. I amended my fucking condition. And between law and media, I've encapsulated the social media live stream and said it's off limits to veteran records in their secondary VA care condition. So as your patient adjudicator, through all these pseudonyms, however you identify is the pseudonym that you use. So if, let's say, you're just a person with tinnitus, you would fall under the pseudonym of Randy Redleg. Let's say you're a male, military sexual trauma, you fall under Bob Goodcock. Bob Cobb is the student veteran entrepreneur. who bootstraps his college in the college classroom. And it was pitched to Microsoft this weekend. So I'm not hiding shit. I get all this, oh, you're hiding, you're using a pseudonym. I'm not doing shit. I'm conducting scientific research. And what's going to come out on the other side is a persona, a marketing persona between policy and lived experience. That's what gonzo journalism is. And by looking at the veteran through the lens of gonzo journalism, what you're going to find is the source of stigma. But it was nice this weekend to talk to a bunch of software engineers who are on my level that I can talk to, that I could just chop it up with. And I don't get the cocked head look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, tell me I'm fucking nuts. They're like, no, this is genius. However you engineered this is fucking genius. It's flawless. And I'm not looking for accreditation. I'm looking to protect you as a veteran. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to start with the Vietnam veterans up in Iron Mountain, Michigan. I want to find out. I'm going to find 10 of them. Do you have access to technology? Because they want all of us to get on board with fucking apps and AI and shit. Well, they're not transparent about the use of AI. Instead, what do? Bring a bunch of people called hackers to Tampa, Florida to pay thousands of dollars to come here and give Microsoft ideas on how to integrate with veteran records, veteran care, and to make the connect with veterans. And not once did I see one fucking disclaimer this weekend. Not one. You see, through digital record keeping, it's called gatekeeping AI. So you have to log in with a credential, fill out the password to be able to see the next tier of the AI. And none of us do. None of us veterans have access to those records. So I'll give you an example. I found out the other day through a lawyer that these corporate employers use AI through the program called Workday. If you so much as lip off to an employer and they fire you, there will be the word terminated next to your name so that the next employer who uses Workday will not fucking hire you. That's discrimination. You see, under Wisconsin fair employment law, an employer can't discriminate against you for filing a complaint. They can't. That's open to the public. That's not legal interpretation. That's what the law fucking says. And I'm not giving legal advice, but what I'm saying is these people are fucking gung-ho about drawing AI into your VA care. Because the VA is a pork barrel fucking program. And all these people, oh, Trump's cutting jobs. Okay. So, you think it's okay for veterans to miss 18.1 million appointments and cost our fucking government $330 million? We don't think so. We don't agree with that. Not a single hacker at this event this weekend agrees with that. We're trying to cut the fat. All of us, we got together and trying to figure out ways to cut the fat. And the fat at the VA is in the millions and billions. And who's fucking paying for it? Honestly. Oh, Trump's cutting jobs. Well, fucking A, we're pissing away billions of dollars. Where do we get the money from? Oh, what are we supposed to do? Just make the shit? No. I truly am proud of the team that I had a chance to work with. Another opportunity to explore team building is so amazing. You go from forming, storming, norming, and then you adjourn. there's 5 stages to developing a team. And so what we wanted to do was we wanted to create a panel that you as a veteran can click on to choose between community care, VA care, and also AI integration in your records. And we didn't win. Fuck AI. But I'll tell you this on the flip side. I'm going to be lobbying in Congress when it comes down to it. When this hackathon shit starts getting fucking bigger and bigger and bigger, to put a stop and make it a public bid. Because the VA is not a private organization. We should not just have one contractor running our VA record keeping system. So I'm in the system on the back end. I'm Brad Bird as a VA patient, but Bob Cobb as a AI inspector, AI trainer. And what I'm doing is conducting discretionary audits to make sure that when they're using AI on my material, that they're not using it on yours. So now at Outpost 422, I'm going to educate you. I'm going to start bringing forward the information I was given this weekend about AI Pilot and all these programs that Hackathon said they were going to show us. They didn't. Nobody could get into the fucking training. And I also said to the upcoming national commander, I said, sir, if the VA is going to sponsor events, then we need a patient advocate here. Well, what's going on? I said, your VA employees, all 100 or 206 of them, are stonewalling veterans from these projects because they have the practical experience and we don't. And that's pretty much the gist of Hackathon. So if you're a veteran and you're going to get into this Hackathon shit, buyer beware. Buyer fucking beware. They want your idea. They want you to buy in on letting Microsoft be the hosting server for the VA. So I'm going to create an anti-AI by using multiple platforms and then running them through Adobe software. So on the other end, I could recreate a whole new code and confuse the shit out of the AI, because that's what I do. It's called an AI spoof. And when I send the AI into a whole different tailspin, it doesn't even know what the fuck it's doing. That's all I got. To go to the Wisconsin state capitol